How's it going, YouTube? I was just here bringing you guys another Digimon match today. Today it is me on the right, repping the Skyforce Gaming match. Shout out to Skyforce Gaming. Playing the Church of Cherubi, Purple Hybrid, whatever you want to call it. And my opponent is going to be playing Blue Hybrid. Yes, I know Blue Hybrid, but like I said in one of the previous videos, there are quite a few people at my locals playing Blue Hybrid. So bear with me for a little bit. So here my opponent does win the dice roll. They go ahead, evolve into the BT7 Strawby in the back and play a Bokomon, revealing two Tommies, a Davis, and a Sorajo, along with a Hammer Spark. So already my opponent's kind of starting off in a rough position. Losing two Tommies and a Sorajo, they do take the Davis, is very painful for them. Because now I don't have to worry about the Korikaku lock as much, and hopefully not a Sorajo, so I can capitalize on those plays a little bit more, hopefully. And I go ahead and do just that. Go ahead, have the Salamon and Raising, play the Bokomon, not worried about the Sorajo, at least right now. He could still have another one, of course. Grabbing a Mat and a Kaiser Leomon, and then just going ahead playing down the Mat. I know they have the Davis, so the Davis will probably come down here in a second, but I'm not too worried about it. Mat's just good to have for the Memory Tamer. So my opponent does raise up, does die. The Cherubimon does die, I should say, when it swings into the Lowimon. They do play the Davis, search a little bit, and then play another memory boost, play a blue memory boost, searching, hitting a Sorajo, a Davis, taking the Korikakumon. So two Sorajos at the bottom of the deck and a Davis. So opponent's looking a little low on Tamers, and it's nice to see those two Sorajos at the bottom of the deck. So right here, I go ahead, I'm a little greedy right here. I decide to use the Blinding Ray, burn a little bit of security. It is a Cherubimon just to get a draw off of the Upamon, hoping that the Salamon will die, give me a little bit of extra recovery. But it does unfortunately live, hitting a memory boost. So I would just go ahead, I'll do a little bit of climbing right here, go up into the Lowimon for free, into the Rihimon. So here, it'd be really nice if I had something like a Cherubimon, but I did just trash one, so this list only runs 3, so there's a good chance I don't have it. So what I do here is I play the Calling, deleting the Salamon so I can get the recovery, grabbing the Cherubimon and the Lowimon from security. So now I do have the Cherubimon, but I don't have any Tamers in trash at this point. So here I play the Analog Youth, hoping that I'll get a Tamer in trash more so than anything else, which I do. I get the Koichi. Go ahead, Digivolve into the Cherubimon to play out the Koichi, deleting his Bokomon, and then getting the draw one, and then the discard one off of the Koichi, discarding the Rebellimon, setting me up pretty nicely for follow-up turns. So here, while my opponent doesn't quite have the Tamers, we know there's quite a few Tamers at the bottom of the deck. He does have 2 memory boosts, so there's a good chance he could go up. He could either play a Tamer or go up into a Hybrid, which he does here. Goes up into the Kumamon, trashing the bottom source, so it is a Mat and trash, which isn't the worst thing to have, especially if I can get another Rihimon or something out on the field. But he does end up having the second Davis, doesn't quite want to swing in, probably doesn't want me to risk going over something, and we know he has a Korikakumon, but he doesn't get much benefit from trashing just the Bokomon currently. So here, passing turn over to Mia, we'll go ahead and hatch. I do end up still having the Rookie, having the Patamon. I get another free Evo here. I am only at 1 memory right now. I did have to evolve into the Mat, but I am able to get a little bit more cycle with the free Kaiser into another Rihimon. Go ahead, swing in with the Cherubimon. Do hit another memory boost. My opponent has quite a few memory boosts on field. Here I swing in with the Rihimon, more than likely hoping it dies so I can get the Mat back out. Unfortunately for me, it does not happen. I do already have a Death Claw in trash, so unfortunately for me, the chances of me being able to pop this Rihimon to get the Mat back out are quite low. So I go ahead, my opponent's already going to go to 3, play another Analog Youth. I do unfortunately hit 2 Tamers and a Lucemon. Really want that Lucemon in trash, but I do take it as it is the only target that I have, and it is kind of nice to fill the trash up somewhat. So here I know there's a little bit of glare, but they go ahead, trash another source with another Kumamon Digivolve, gaining a memory when they swing in off of the BT6 Cherubimon, and then just go ahead, swing in again with the second Kumamon. That both swings live. The second Kumamon does hit a Koichi though, getting me a little bit more cycle, so now I have another Digimon potentially in the form of a another hybrid with the Koichi down there, although the Madogi Betamon does unfortunately stop that play. But I don't have any frozen Digimon currently at this point. I do have 4 bodies on field. My opponent does have 3 security. So here I play it a little safe. I am pretty low on security at this point. So if they do have another hybrid and I swing into security and hit a Hammer Spark, I am just kind of screwed. So I play it a little extra safe here using the Shores. I have plenty of Tamers and a hybrid on field. So I just go ahead, clear the board. It keeps me pretty safe. I do have to worry about another freeze or something like that, but I'm not quite as worried about it as I would be just automatically losing from something like double Hammer Spark or an Ice Wall in security. So here, again, my opponent's still very suffering on the Tamer end for a blue hybrid list. They do just hard play the Cherubimon. They have the BT6 Strabi and Raising. Kind of thinking about what they want to do here. At this point, you could pop a memory boost to play another Tamer if they have it. They decide to go ahead, pop both memory boosts going up to 6, and Digivolving up into a Korikakumon. It does not get a freeze because that is a Kyarumon, unfortunately for my opponent. Just kind of going wide here at this point, playing a Strabimon, whiffing completely, no Koichi, or Koji I should say, no other Tamer. Here, my opponent does have the Ice Wall, so this pretty much stops me. They do effectively have 4 potential swings on board. So I do have to worry about losing on the following turn if I can't somehow deal with what he's got on his board. Here I do end up getting the Bushi. I do have quite the board, but unfortunately for my opponent, I do have the second Shores Laser. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to keep them from clumping together, so I put one on the bottom of the trash. I am able to clear the board. So passing the turn over to 5, it does pass him over quite a bit of memory, but he has no way that, to my knowledge, to go ahead and just win this turn without another Tamer or another body on board. So don't feel bad passing him too much memory. Go ahead, place the Strabimon, does get a Tommy on that one, so I do potentially have to worry about a Tommy if something comes out of security that goes ahead and screws me over, like a Hammer Spark to pass the turn, but he does end up playing the Tommy, stripping the sources underneath the Rihimon, so I do not get a free hype or a free Tamer off of the Rihimon effect if I have something like a Deathclaw or I swing in and it dies to a security check. So here I go ahead, I have to just go ahead, risk it for the biscuit, burning off my last security with a Blinding Ray, just hope I don't hit double Hammer Spark or something out of security, and we just swing in both security checks or Digimon, and we have plenty of swings on board, and we just go ahead, swing for game, taking game 1, Church Cherubi, doing the greatest, even without popping the balloon sometimes. So on to game 2, I do end up going first. My opponent decides to let me go first. Probably the smartest thing to usually do in this format. There's a lot of setup, so it's nice to get that extra memory. We do have mulligans available for this event, no sideboards, just like the Ultimate Fest coming up. So I do go ahead and mulligan my hand, get a hand that is hopefully a little bit more easily to play with. Do end up hitting the Rookie here for the yellow, getting the Salamon, and go ahead popping the Analog Youth, getting a Digimon, and trashing, unfortunately, one of my Callings and Akari. Don't really like to see it, but if I do have something like a Rihimon, or I can get up to the Cherubimon line with another Tamer, it already is a pretty good spot to be in. My opponent does use the blue memory boost here, unfortunately for them, whiffing on 2 Tamers, so it is nice to see a Sorjo and a Davis go to the bottom of the deck. And here I decide not to raise. I'm guessing I don't have another Rookie in hand, so I just go ahead, use the Koichi, passing my opponent to 2, draw 1. I don't really have anything good to discard. I think I have like 2 Rihimons and a couple of level 4 hybrids. I don't really want to get rid of any of those currently, so I am kind of reluctant, but do end up discarding the Rihimon, passing it back over to my opponent. They just go ahead, pass me back to 1, playing the Strabimon, and cycling, grabbing a Beowulfmon, I believe. So here my opponent does pass me back over to 1. I do end up drawing the mat, just decide to go ahead, get the mat set up, grabbing the Rihimon back. So not quite punished for discarding the Rihimon. Like I said, I think I had a couple in hand. So passing the opponent back to 3. Like I said, they have the Strabimon back in Raising. Go ahead, Digivolve into the Kumamon, hoping for a little bit more cycle. Popping the memory boost, going up a little bit more from the looks of it. Yeah, they don't have the Tamer underneath, so they do have to pay the full 3 for the effect of Beowulfmon, adding back the Kumamon, living the security check, and then playing down a Davis, getting them a little bit more cycle. Here you see the Tommy goes to trash. I do see the Azulongmon, so now I have to be pretty careful about popping a Cherubimon at the wrong point, but it is good to see the Tommy go to the bottom of the deck. So here my opponent did pass me over to 4 memory. It's about the time to raise up the Salamon. I'm debating on whether or not I want to swing with the Salamon. If I hit something like a Hammer Spark or an Ice Wall out of security, then I have to worry about losing a little bit of my tempo. So here I Digivolve the Koichi up into the Lowimon. You can see there I do have a Deathclaw in hand. I already have the Rihimon that we know about from grabbing the mat, so it's not a really surprise to go up. So here I'm trying to think about exactly what I'm going to do. You could justify maybe swinging into the Beowulfmon, clearing the board out, getting the Koichi for a little bit more cycle, or the Kari for a little bit of protection. And also right here, I don't gain the memory off the Koichi, so I decide to go ahead, be safe, pop the Salamon, don't get a recover, but I do get rid of the Madoki Betamon on the field, and I do crash here, trading with the Beowulfmon, and then I do play out the Kari, because Kari is just really good. It's not really a floodgate, but it can help slow down plays. That little 1 extra memory from losing to security can come into play, especially with things like blinding in the format, and also if your opponent needs that 1 extra memory, Kari being able to starve them for that 1 extra memory is very helpful. So here I have no real good way other than to play this Cherubimon to choke my opponent, because I have to make the best use out of the memory I have, and I don't think I had anything else that would have passed them just at 3. I didn't want to give them more memory than they could make use of, especially if they have something like a Tamer in hand. So we drop the Cherubimon, they raise up the Strabi, swing in, check a Cherubi, and then I just go ahead and suspend the Kari, gain that little extra memory, and they just follow up with a Sora-Jo to end their turn. So now I kind of have to worry about Sora-Jo to play around. I think I have a Rihimon in my hand at this point, but if I use that, then I can't really do as much this turn. So what I end up doing here is I go ahead, you can see I have that Kaiser Leomon in hand with the Rihimon. Kaiser Leomon can Digivolve for 1, so this gets around the Sora-Jo by having the source. Rihimon has to have a hybrid in the sources, so if I strip the Rihimon, if they strip the Rihimon by like going into a Tamer or something like that, or a hybrid on top of their Tamer, then I have to worry about not being able to get the effect of Rihimon. So this is just kind of, you know, it's a risky situation. You don't want to waste your level 4 hybrids, but at the same time I have to play around Sora-Jo. And then I just play the Reinforced Memory Boost, add the mat to the top of the security, adding the Koichi to hand, so I can get a little bit of recovery off of the mat if he swings in and checks security. So as you can see, my opponent did in fact have the Kumamon. I think we knew we had that off of the Beowulfmon from the previous turn, so it is nice to not just lose the effect of the Rihimon by having the source stripped, although it would be nice to kind of have that level 5 on the field, but was able to get a little bit more done with the memory I had. They will swing in, we know it's a mat, I will take back the Death Claw. I think I have the whole line, the Rihimon up into the Cherubimon, so might see a Cherubimon pop here in a little bit, and then they will just go ahead, play another Sora-Jo, passing me over to my 3 memory. So here we'll go ahead and raise up the Patamon, swing, and it does die. We're not super worried about that. We get the draw off of the Upamon, and then we also get the benefit of having the Patamon in trash. You can see here I have quite a few Tamers. We know I have a Koichi in hand, so that is also a nice thing to remember. Here I'm trying to think about what I want to do. I do have 3 memory to work with, so we could possibly see like Koichi into a Rihimon. At this point, if I do have the Cherubimon in hand, I'm not as worried about using the Rihimon's effect, much more so as I'm worried about getting the Cherubimon off, so I can potentially pop it to go for game, which is exactly what I do here. We Digivolve into the Rihimon. Now we have it. I could pop it here to play one of the Tamers from my trash, but I can also Digivolve into the Cherubimon, playing back the Koichi that was in my trash, drawing 1, discarding 1. This will end up deleting the Kumamon in the process. So now we have a board 5 Tamers set up, plenty of stuff filtered in the trash. You can see I have a Bushi Agumon there, Deathclaw to get rid of the Cherubimon, and pretty good setup for following turns with the Reinforced Memory Boost on the field. So here to reduce the amount of checks that I possibly have, my opponent will go ahead, Howling, strip all the sources underneath. We're not really worried about this Cherubimon swinging. We have the Deathclaw, we have a nice trash filled up, and then they will go ahead, swing in with the Strabimon, swing in, and it does hit a Bushi. Nice to see that go into the trash since we do have the Cherubi about to pop. And then they will go ahead, play a Strabimon, taking the Korikakumon just in case this turn goes on. I am only at 2 security. They do have plenty of memory to go off of next turn if the Cherubimon sticks around. So I will, on my turn, Digivolve into the Salamon. Started off by popping the Cherubimon, counting how many Tamers we have. We have 5 Tamers on our side of the field. This does pass me to 2 memory. We'll play out 2 Bushi, a Salamon, a Patamon. Patamon doesn't get the effect, but the Bokomon does get the effect. Here we will go ahead, take the Rihimon. I have to bottom deck everything else. No Tamer, but I have plenty of Tamers on the field at this point, and we have plenty of swings to go into. So here we will go ahead, start swinging at the Bushi, swing 1 check, it dies, swing 2 check, it dies. I'm pretty much trying to push for game this turn, if at all possible. Hammer Spark or something coming out of security could be very detrimental for me. So here I will just go ahead and still Digivolve into the Kaiser Leomon for free, swinging in, hoping it potentially dies so I get to extra memory gain. Unfortunately, I do not, so I will just go ahead, pop the Reinforced Memory Boost, Digivolve into a Lowimon on top of my mat, swing in, it does die, but I do in fact have the last hybrid Digivolving over. Since no Hammer Sparks came out, we had plenty of memory to work with, and we will go ahead and swing for game. So here my opponent did in fact have the Ice Wall, but there's no way to necessarily know I was going to be able to pop off quite as hard as I was with the amount of level 4 hybrids I had in hand. So, it's one of the risks. If you play it and you play it at the wrong time, then you can just waste the Ice Wall and then it just goes to no use, or you don't play it and then you find out you may have needed it. It's one of those give and take situations. Anyways, everyone, that will be the match, though. Did have blue on the channel again, but it was against Cherubi. Got to see Church of Cherubi do the dirty work by being able to pop the balloon, swarm the field, and just showing how you can cycle, get around a few things. I got lucky in that game 1, though, with all the Tamers going to the bottom of the deck. But all that being said, if you did like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment down below. I'm going to try to get this deck profile posted at the end of this video, hopefully. It might be showing currently while I've been talking. I do not have access to the blue list, but I do have a blue list on my channel if you guys would like to see it. Other than that, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.